Finance Committee meeting of December 4th, 2018, 1918. A little behind schedule. We're being audio and video recorded. Call the meeting to order at 7:18. And first order of business is to approve the minutes, May 22nd.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman.
I have I have one correction.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay. Members absent. Jamie Snow was no longer a member. Once she was elected to the planning board, she was no longer a member.
Yeah.
And Teresa, I notice it still says draft. So on page 2, the third paragraph, Egan informed the TCC. That's the one that should be, say, FinCom instead of TCC, right? That's where I asked what TCC stood for, and then you said it should be FinCom. And I cannot vote on this, I was absent, so, but I did have that comment.
Okay, go ahead, make your motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as amended.
Okay.
I'll second
Dennis,
it.
Roy. Any other comments, corrections? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes. Minutes are accepted.
You can abstain.
I'm abstaining, yeah.
September 11th minutes.
I'll make a motion that we accept those. I didn't see anything.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, have a motion and a second by Dennis. Any other questions, comments?
Nope, it looked good.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You weren't here, Peter, right? So you can't vote.
Right.
You weren't here on that one.
I wasn't?
Oh, yeah, you were absent, Peter.
Oh, okay, I can't vote.
We show you as absent.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to the major item, the accounting report for July and October. I trust everyone has received it as a email. And what we normally do is just go by page number, and if there are any questions or comments or stuff like that, we can bring them up. Page 1. Any questions, comments, concerns? Okay, no, nothing there. Let's move on to page 2. And just to refresh everybody's mind, the town accountant normally spends a lot of their expenses in the first part of the year. That's why they're overspent at this particular point. Any questions or concerns?
Well, the salary assessors position looks like it's, well, I don't know. Looks like they've only spent about maybe 30% so far, 20, I don't know.
Well, this represents July to October, which is a third of the year, so 33% would be roughly.
Is there? Oh.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
just on average.
Right. And again, you run into
Some that spend more early, like you said, Larry.
right, an extra week in there or something like that. We're at this 67% point of expenditures, or 67% point of remaining.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions, comments on page 2? Go to page 3. That's okay. Questions, comments? All right.
Town council has really barely been touched, huh? For the first 4 months?
Thank
Only
goodness.
6,000? Yeah,
Right.
there's 108,000 left out of 114.
That's good.
It is.
Let's hope we don't spend it all.
Things coming up.
All we
Yeah,
need is
I'm sure.
litigation. Although they have, I don't know whether you watched last night's selectmen's meeting, they're opening up, I guess there was a case on 2 of the properties that has been going on for 15 years that the town of Rowley won the decisions, but now they're being, I don't know, relitigated.
Yeah.
It's on Ellsworth Road.
Okay, page 4.
I just got one question there.
Sure.
What is MIS/GIS department? What does that mean? Stand for?
Management Information Services, and let's see, GIS.
Just not familiar with it.
I don't know what the G stands for, but the IS is Information
Okay.
Services.
So it sounds like computer type.
Right.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, page 4. Okay. Any questions, comments on page 4?
No.
Page 5. Mainly police and fire.
The annex is really low too. Only about 3,000 out of 40,000 used so far for the annex.
What are you looking at, Paul?
The center school annex,
What line is
Yeah,
that? Oh,
they have a-
What
they
line
have-
you looking at?
although they have a budget of 40,600 and they've only used 2988, almost
Oh, okay.
$3,000. So they got 37,600 left.
You know, the
These are
biggest thing I,
capital expenses.
It says repair, second floor, so it must be some project that just probably won't get picked up till the winter, possibly, or spring, or whatever. But they were approved for the 40,600.
I know that they were going to redo the ramp. In last night's meeting, I guess the ramp was,
It's wood instead of
Right.
or something.
Yeah, it's going out to bid again.
but I don't think it's reflected here because that was like
Yeah.
$75,000 versus,
Yeah, I
It's
think
one of
that's a
them.
separate article.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments on page 5?
No.
Okay. Page 6.
For the very top for the fire department, where it has the adjustment of minus 85,000, is that the delay in hiring two? They were going to hire 2 more firefighters, I believe, but they were delayed, weren't they? Or was
Yeah,
that-
they were delayed.
That represents that?
Yeah, that's because of the firefighters' wages.
Wages,
Right, that's where that delay is.
Yeah.
I think we
Because we
just,
gave the money to Triton
right, and I think they
Right.
delayed it, hiring the two, but for 6 months, is that
to
correct?
March.
Right.
Okay,
Well, they weren't gonna be able to fill the positions right away anyway. I mean, you post it and it takes, several months to
I don't
fill
know,
the positions.
Right.
yeah.
So,
Okay, any other concerns on page 6? Page 7. The Triton assessment, we'll discuss that under item 4 on the agenda.
Okay.
Otherwise, any other questions or comments on the other
Items.
water items? Okay, page 8.
I have one question, but probably not really, I probably guess I know the answer. On the stipend for the cemetery commission, wasn't it 500, not 1,000, but did we vote 1,000 for this year? I mean, it says 1,000 there, but
I know the first year it was 500, I don't
yeah, I don't know how it
remember.
got to 1,000, I was just curious.
I want you to look at what we did last year. On that page 8. I don't think we increased it. It shows it at the start of the year as 1,000.
Last year?
No.
Last year was
Yeah, I'm looking at
500.
last
July,
year's
but,
to see what,
yeah,
We must have increased it to go with the other ones.
no, last year it was 500.
Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe just check on that one?
yeah.
Unless they took the 500 that didn't get expended from last year and added it to.
You
to
can't
this,
do that
Yeah, I didn't think so either, but I don't know how it got to 1,000, yeah.
unless it was 1,000 in the budget. When we
Yeah,
voted the
well-
budget,
Yeah,
to go back and look at that.
Yeah, first time I ever bring their budget marked from last year.
we can just put them on and then just
Yeah,
check it.
I'll check into it.
Well, it's been spent already. so-
Yeah, I know. I see that.
Well, I'll still check on it. Okay. Anything on page 9?
Oh, I thought we were in 8. Are we-
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so on 8,
I
you
have
got more stuff on 8.
I have several.
Oh, okay.
Questions and comments. Streetlights, 34,000 for the budget, but nothing has been spent?
Because the
After
town,
4
the
months?
light department usually waives it. We budget,
Right,
but they usually
every
waive it.
year they typically
The
waive
entire
it.
amount then? Oh, okay,
So,
thank you.
Yeah, they don't bill us or do anything like that on a
Okay.
monthly basis.
That satisfies that. Then on the recycling, I know that's going away the end of this month. They had almost 24,000 appropriated, and it expended over half of that, and I'm sure that's because of the increased cost, and that's probably why they're canceling that, so
Right.
there should be some money left over. You think they're going to use all the rest this month?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they renegotiated the contract
JRM.
with, yeah, I don't know, the JRM or Mello.
No,
It
it's
was
JRM.
JRM?
Yeah.
Larry, I thought it was at around 19,000, wasn't it? That was just an estimate. He was gonna carry it through the Christmas season.
Yeah, the 29th is when it's closing, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does have 19,000. If you look on the third column over, they added 10,490 to the budget, to that line item, to bring it up to 19,525. They still get 8,000 left over. That's probably this month's expenses,
Well,
probably.
that will be November and December.
December.
Yeah.
So that'll go away, probably.
That'll go away, yeah.
8,000.
Okay.
Right.
And then my last comment was more like a question. What are town land expenses? 3,500. Like a specific line for that.
Town landing?
No,
Yeah,
town
town
land
land.
expenses,
Oh,
3,500. Just curious, I don't remember seeing that before.
It's probably mowing lawns, keeping up with all the properties that we have,
Wouldn't that be the highway department or something? Well,
I think it's funded through the highway department expense.
Yeah.
It used to be a separate thing, so I don't know.
okay.
I'll check into that.
Just
Dave.
curious.
Yeah. Well,
Sometimes these
that's
things.
why we're reviewing everything,
Yeah,
so that we can,
Yeah, it used to have us totally separate, away from the highway department. It had its own contractor out doing it and everything.
okay.
I don't know whether that's the town common expenses or some of the other lands that we have, but
Okay.
I'll look into it.
That's it for my questions.
Okay. Page 9. Any questions, comments?
Only thing, veterans, it's almost 50% or close to it so far, the first 4 months.
Remember, veterans, we don't
That's right.
have,
We had Veterans Day.
well,
No,
we,
that's just the
Benefits.
Essex County veterans that get benefits. It has nothing to do with Veterans Day or anything.
Okay.
And we have no control over
Yeah,
that.
okay. That's fine. Yeah.
The director has an office in Ipswich at the town hall over there.
okay, page 10. Here's your Memorial and
Yeah, I
Veterans
saw
Day.
it, 1,800, yeah.
Okay. Page.
What do you
11.
think? I just have a question on this
Sure.
Brad Street property expense. So we're paying to keep up the property, I guess, and some,
Is it the gardens, just the gardens?
yeah. Well, I would hope that there's a delineation between the private person that owns the property and,
Yes, there
Oh,
is.
yeah, there is,
Too.
yeah. But we have a lot of that land up there that we have to, and we do water out to the gardens and stuff too.
No, I think that comes from the ag comp,
Agricultural, thank you.
but that's probably just some of the upkeep. I know that they were going to have a baseball field back there, but the soil wasn't correct or supportive of a baseball field, and I imagine it's just kind of a minimal expense to take care of some of the stuff out there.
In case something comes up.
I think there's a new water line too as well. So that expense would be pulled from this? to pay for
No,
it?
that was from the Agricultural Commission.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Anything else? Page 11. Not much we can do about principal and interest. Or retirement. Page 12. Not much we can do there.
No.
Page 13.
Yeah, this is all the community preservation stuff. I just went to the annual meeting they had last week, and they are going to give $260,000, I believe, to replace the windows on 8 buildings at Plantation Drive and 8 roofs that needed replacement. So that's going to come, go towards that. And another $20,000, I've got the stuff here, to deacidify old town records and going back to the 17 and 1800s. They had about, I think she said 16 or 18 volumes, and each document is in some type of a plastic insert. It's the document's been deacidified, and it's on special paper. Books are beautiful. They're big,
Very
and
heavy.
very heavy, very
Right.
heavy. And they're going to continue with preserving more town documents, and I think that's going to be $20,000 that they're appropriating for next year. So that was the 2 big items on the agenda. I have the information here if anybody's interested.
Okay. Let's see, it's 13, 14.
See, we're very heavy in salaries. Obviously, they haven't hired a superintendent, so we got 92,000 there, and
Right.
looks like the wages were still 81% versus 67%. So I'm anticipating a large surplus in that line.
Which line was that again?
The water
The
department
salaries,
wages.
the wages.
Yeah, we're having a hard time hiring some people.
So, well, my thought is, and I know not everybody agrees, but I'm going to express my thought, is that this year, when we talk about the water department, we need to look at that surplus, because when it becomes surplus, it goes into their reserve. So they're building up, 100 for the superintendent and maybe another 100 for the salaries. So, I just don't want to keep on feeding the reserve there. They need to look at their budget and see if they can cut it somewhere else to offset that. I know we have to hire a superintendent, but it's been, I think, 3 or 4 years that we've had surpluses, excessive surpluses in wages, and they need to look at that, because, like I said, we're just adding it to the reserve at the end of the year. I think the reserve, I'm not sure where it is. We could probably find out from the water department, but I know last time I checked, it was over $1 million. So.
Which is good, because we're going to have to repair a lot of.
That's fine, but there's no plans. The water department has no plans yet. They have no concrete plans to expend that money, so that's just
Right.
sitting there. And I would support the water department if they look at their rates again and maybe adjust the rates to help out the water rate customers too.
Right.
So if they can do that and do their mains, then I would support that.
I know I had a discussion with someone from the water department, because I keep on pushing for the, some type of rate relief or reduction, because we have the highest rates in the state. And the response is, well, they're a little bit hesitant because they don't know, they want to make sure that if they give us, they don't want to give us a rate reduction and have to go back and do an increase. But I don't know necessarily if they have to really worry about that, but that's
$1 million, they have a large sum of money that, they can make it, a gradual reduction if they want. Any sign of,
I know, you're the highest
slight
rates in the-
reduction would be a good PR for them, I think.
Yeah, especially when, we've got the police and fire coming on board, and the Pine Grove, those tax increases.
They're gonna be like at least 7, 8, 9, 10% increase for people.
Right.
It's gonna be fun.
To see a little bit of relief, at least in the water, would be nice.
And what was sent to us about what the increases next year for Triton alone, was it, what, $1,800,000 or
We're
something?
gonna
Yeah,
talk
well,
about that anyway.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
next on our thing.
Okay.
Okay. Anything on 15? Okay, nothing on 16, so,
Where's it crossed out?
for the recap,
Maybe there's the
I-
wrong
I
numbers
don't
in there, they
know,
probably don't have an
but-
update, for that period, I'm guessing.
well, I don't look at the recap anyway, those numbers don't tell me anything. Okay, any other general comments on the budget? All right, let's move on to item 4, preliminary Triton budget increase, and Board of Selectmen's letter.
We get our nice letter to start, right? And I watched the selectmen's meeting last night, and I saw that you had commented to the selectmen whether they were using the base of
Right.
what we originally voted versus what the actual vote was after the override.
Right. I still want to make that clear because just kind of skipping around a little bit, the selectmen have sent a letter to the Triton School Committee that they're looking for an increase in Rowley's assessment of no more than $290,000 for fiscal year 20. However, they didn't mention what the baseline is for that. And I don't want the selectmen to think that the baseline is the number that the board, that the town originally approved, and have Triton think that the baseline is the final budget that the town kind of was forced to approve, which was much higher. That, as far as my thinking is concerned, that the baseline should be what the voters approved at the annual town meeting. And with that in mind, I think we all got the Triton initial estimate of an increase over the current year we're in, okay, of $1.8 million, of which Rowley's assessment is roughly 1/3, or, $600,000 right out of the gate. Or twice as much as what we're saying we can afford, or what we would like.
And even if
So it looks
it's-
like we're getting the same letter with no consideration, just here it is, the same letter that we got last year.
Kind of exactly that. I mean, it's, last year we told them what the town could afford, and I know that the schools are making, the elementary schools are making their budget presentations January, I think it's 15th, 16th, and 17th, as far as what their budget request is. And I've been to the district communications committee meetings and other meetings, and there's been no discussion between the Triton School and the three towns as far as what the preliminary budget is, or any considerations, other than one meeting where we voice our opinions.
In fairness, a lot of that stuff they're not gonna know for a few months, I mean, they really, they would be, as you've been to those meetings too, anything that they say now would just be a real guess, it could be a swing of $300,000 or $400,000, or even $500,000, depending upon, where the, how things happen, with the school, with the special needs, with transportation costs, they don't know where they're sitting with special needs yet. So there is a lot of still question marks out there, and they're not going to really be able to give you really hard numbers, probably.
Well, they're not looking for, we're not looking for hard numbers. We're looking for something better than a guesstimate, but certainly we've been down that road before.
I know, but anybody can do a guess. I mean, you want someone just to guess and say, well, this is this.
No, that's why I'm saying we're not looking for a guesstimate.
I know, but, that's basically what it's gonna come down to, because the assessment, could go either way too. That could jump, 200,000 plus, or, so there's all kinds of, really issues as far as, that it's tougher to, just not trying to defend Triton, but I'm just saying it's much tougher to work with all the variables that Triton School has versus, even the police and fire department, which is just basically, what your salaries and what your expenses. Triton has a lot more variables and things that could, affect the budget. So, it's that's the problem. That's a big problem,
I attended the school committee meeting there a couple of months ago. Remember I asked that question, how it's important that we have more accurate forecasts, and they told me, they said that they really can't because of all the variables that they have, and we go through this every year. Like we get into the winter when we're getting all the other budgets, and we don't know what's going to happen with Triton, which is what 50 to 60% of our entire town budget. So it's very frustrating because like he mentioned too, and the superintendent says they don't know how many people they're going to have to deal with. Like the cost of sped is very high. What are we going to get for state aid? That seems to change every year, and I don't think it goes in our favor. So it is difficult. But even the lowest situation they have here at the very bottom is already above what the town is saying that we could, is above our 50%. So
yeah, it's basically taking, again, all of our increase,
and then some.
And then everything else. We've had to take money from the stabilization fund that we were going to put in. We've had to postpone the 2 firefighters. We've had to postpone the advancement
but even
in the police.
I know, but even the Triton budget,
it's very. I'm not going to say very easy, but to change all that, what you do is you say, okay, here's the baseline, okay, which is the annual Triton budget that was approved at the annual town meeting, add the $290,000 to it, okay, and that's Triton's figure. That's how much we're going to give them.
And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that if you got 80% of your operating costs are tied with salaries, and the teacher's contract has already been approved to the, until, for the end of this coming fiscal year, you're going to have probably, with the salaries alone, if you include steps and the 2.5, you're going to have about
$925.
Yeah, 3.5%, 4% increase right then and there. That's going to blow out the,
50%.
That blows the budget right then and there. If you're talking about keeping them down to only half of what the increases are for, 50/50, that, blows it right out right there, because the salaries alone, 80% of the Triton budget with their
Yeah,
steps.
but you're making the
you know,
rest of the
yeah.
town suffer.
Well, I just think that's the
for
contract
Triton.
that was signed.
That they shouldn't
and
have approved,
You know,
but that's beside the point. But you're penalizing
Yeah.
the whole town.
Well, yeah, well, I've mentioned many times that I think they have to, the next teacher's contract, they really can't, if they're gonna give more than a 1.5% increase in addition to the steps, then there's gonna be trouble right then and there, because.
Well, Triton's going to have to do what the rest of Raleigh has to do, and that's do with less people.
Well, they did cut back,
Well,
laid off
if
about
they're going to
3%.
give them the $925,000 increase, then they have to do with less than what they have now, people. And especially since enrollment is going down
How is that
again.
gonna impact the school and the
The
teachers?
enrollment is way down
How is that
again.
gonna impact people
The
that
same
wanna
way
move
that
to the
it's
town?
impacted the town,
Yeah, I know, but
okay, with the
people-
loss of the firemen and.
People move to the town, primary reason is for the schools.
Not necessarily.
Well, I'm just saying.
Police and fire.
Families, young families, that's what they look at is the schools, when that's what typically, your property values are based on, your schools that you have. So if you're gonna undermine the schools and say, okay, it's okay, they're gonna lay off, we're gonna make class sizes go up to 24, 25, 26 people, I don't know
And what's
how
wrong,
advertising
and what is
that's gonna
wrong
be.
with that? I was in
I know, but
classes
those
of 30.
were back in those
35 in parochial
times.
school.
Yeah.
That was back in those times and those days. I mean,
Yeah, and now-
What's wrong
I
with
went
it?
to school.
And now
my
they
classes
have
were 30
computers.
people too.
Then what was wrong with it?
Yeah,
Well,
now they have
Look what it
computers
did to
that,
you.
I'm
that,
just saying, I mean,
are
seriously.
self-taught.
What's wrong with 25 in
Well,
class?
you
No,
know,
really.
I mean, it's kind of a shame, when you look at schools like in Reston and Wellesley and places like that.
They
where
got more
have,
money.
well, yeah, I know, but, I mean, I don't know, I just feel like,
we're not a Wellesley.
Yeah.
well,
And how many hundreds,
You know-
when last year, how many hundreds of students have dropped as far as student population? It was quite a few over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
Well, it's how many
It's
hundreds?
it's going
continuing
down,
on.
but it's a trend, not just here,
So if
it's across.
I understand, but the point is, if it's going down,
But that means, does that mean that these other towns, because they're trends, because it's really something that's going on throughout the whole, so are they supposed to, all their budget's supposed to be cut back to and everything?
no,
you know?
what
I mean,
happens,
that's
is
what we're
just like-
talking about then,
Just like if
you
you
know?
run a business, if
But that's-
if the work isn't there, you cut on your employees, like maybe there are several teachers' positions that can be eliminated because of the
But-
continually declining.
But just an example, if you
population.
read this letter, when they did the attendance October this year, we're down 59 students from last year.
Is that Raleigh students?
Raleigh.
Raleigh.
alone. Raleigh alone is down 59
So they know
students.
That's like
gonna
3
mean- That's gonna
classrooms.
mean they're gonna, even their assessment's gonna go less in our favor if that 59 is greater, of a differential than what it is, I mean,
But that's 3 classrooms alone. Now, how many do they lose in Newbury
In
and
Salisbury.
Salisbury?
I don't know, I'd be
You add
curious
that
to
up,
see
how many?
what the numbers are, but these are the things that you,
And it
make
wouldn't
it kinda
affect the quality of the
complex.
education if you only have so many students
Well, it
and
depends.
so many in a class. How many
Yeah.
English teachers do you
yeah,
need,
well,
or
it
math
depends.
teachers?
I mean, if you have like
I'm not-
25, a group of 25 in one grade, then you don't need, obviously you can, teacher can be knocked off. But if it's a reduction of like 59 and it's spread out over 12 grades, now we're talking about what? About 4 per grade, so that's not enough really to knock off a teacher for each grade, right? So
I
it
didn't
kind
say
of
that. I'm
depends,
just saying that there should be
I know, but I'm just
some that
saying
could be.
yeah, there could be
eliminated.
some, yeah.
And I'm not even talking possible layoffs. There's some teachers that retire every year where you wouldn't lay off some of the younger teachers. I'm just saying it's a thought because every year now the population keeps declining.
I know, I mean,
Yeah, and not only we,
And the
but I
cost
think
goes up.
the school, granted, I've been away from school for quite a while, but with the computers and everything else that are on board, do you really need a teacher for every 12 people when they're all on a computer or so?
I think especially the lower grades, you need to have, maybe the upper grades, you go by.
I question the validity. I mean, granted, it's great that elementary teachers get master's degrees and things like that. I don't think you need a master's degree or should pay for one if you're teaching elementary school.
Yeah, but, I mean, you're talking about the quality, perceived quality of education for the town, which is important for people, especially young families, you know, I mean, school is...
Well, yes, but I mean, you don't need to be taught by a PhD to learn, you know, second grade spelling. Well, I'm just saying that I think they need to...
I think the master's degree is a requirement in Massachusetts.
And you have professional development, you need all these things that they have today and stuff, so you're talking about, you know, reversing all that stuff out and, you know, things that, I mean...
I'm not anti-education, Peter. My wife was a high school math teacher.
I know, I'm not
here, but
a lot
so
of
I'm
people...
very pro-education.
We shouldn't be doing that, you know what I'm saying, because we can't control it.
We have no control over it.
The fence turned the other way, you know.
But it's like the expenses keep going like this and the population keeps coming down. It's not like we've even stabilized, like Sharon said, we're losing another 59 students just next year.
But then you have to look at the cost of, you know, special education needs and all that, and how much have they increased. Does those increases more than offset the decrease of the declining enrollment? That's the question you have to ask yourself, you know?
I don't think they know that yet.
Yeah. You have a question?
This letter here about the 290 and your philosophy of where they should start that baseline. How much of an override did we vote for to make, you know, to actually pay for the assessment that we had this year?
We didn't vote on override.
We didn't have an
voted it
override.
down.
Okay, so we found it within the budget, right?
Yeah.
Because what I'm saying is if you had the 290 to your base, it'll probably mean that they would have to get a 0% increase.
Probably.
Because the 290 would
Yes.
be what we ended up
290
paying anyway.
plus the base is almost the same as what the budget is for
That's what I'm
this year.
saying. So
Right.
you're saying that it's going to be 0. It's not really
Right.
290 more. It's really 0 more,
Right.
you know, because we actually are paying the 290 already.
We decided not to have an override because after we had approved the 39 million total renovation
Came out
of
of the rainy
Triton,
day money.
then we had the police station, fire stations. When that hits our tax bills next year, I don't think you're going to see an override approved in this town for a long time.
Did you read the Moody report too, that they've downgraded
They downgraded Triton.
from A1 to double
So
A3?
they took money, that's the other thing I wanted to mention, and I forgot, yeah, they downgraded, Triton had to go into the reserve money, and they actually, as a result of that, they got a downgrade, and we're A+, and they're what is the rating? We're like
Double
a step-
A3,
Yeah.
another A1.
So it's not like they didn't go into their wells and try to pull money where they possibly could. But if you're proposing like what Paul's mentioning, you know, keeping it to the baseline of what it was initially approved for, then that means they have 0% chance of even any, you know, even a penny increase. That's
life.
That's kind of like being a Grinch.
So, I mean,
That's life, you know?
I mean, when you look at
How many of us, you know, I've never been able to go to my boss and say, gee, I'm making $80,000 now. I really need to make $100,000. Can you start next week on the increase? They've got to find creative ways, and we're going down the same path that we did before, and I'm just trying to put an end to it. Well, we'll continue the discussion when the budget comes. Item 5, there's no special town meeting in January. If you were watching the Board of Selectmen's meeting last night, it was canceled.
What was the reason for that?
They had like 4 items, possibly, mainly zoning board, and then there were some CPC items that could be postponed until the May meeting, but the 4 zoning boards, one of them was withdrawn. Another one, I think, had to go through the planning board, which there's some hearings, I think you
Tomorrow night,
right,
it's the Weathersfield to Central Street zoning.
right, so they didn't think it would be ready in time, and then the other 2, I don't think were that important.
And it costs between $3,000 and $5,000 to put on a town meeting.
I was amazed at that.
So they decided that it could wait.
Okay.
Right. Okay, item 6, see when we want to meet it again.
How about the second Tuesday in January?
The 8th?
Is that what it is?
Yep.
Tentatively set it for that, see where we're going on budgets and stuff. Our transfers.
Okay, is that all right with everybody? January 8th?
Right, okay.
January 8th, 7:15, same place.
Same time.
Before we adjourn, I'd like to introduce a new member to the public.
Oh.
We haven't done that yet, right? So,
Right.
somebody might be wondering who he is.
Yes, we do have a new member to the Finance Committee, David Zizza. Did I pronounce it? Finding someone that has a name after mine. The W. So welcome aboard, and I look forward to helping us out. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, Paul. Sharon, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Okay.